My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of the story of the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man video game. And this video will have spoilers, so that's your warning. But whenever I review a video game with lots of story, I like to do two reviews. One where I talk about the gameplay and the combat, and one where I just talk about the story and characters. So, the story I like, I don't think it's as good as people say, and let's just get to the biggest issue, and it's Mr. Negative. I do not understand why you picked this guy to be the primary villain. Like, he's just so generic, and I like the idea of Fisk being taken down and now there's a power vacuum, but his motives are more centered around Osborn, and he's also this good guy who helps people, but then he's angry and hates Osborn, so now he's evil, and just none of it really worked or clicked for me at all. His boss fights were absolutely atrocious, and I don't understand why when he comes back again later on, he's paired up with the Sinister Six. Why not pick Shocker? I really do not like this choice here. Doc Ock is a much better villain. I do love the idea of him being a mentor to Peter and losing himself to hatred and anger. You know, there's a version of this story that could have been the Lizard, but I liked the unique take and making it about Doc Ock. But I also just feel like suddenly his tone was very rushed. Like, his arms work, but they're not safe, and Peter's like, "Don't use them, Doc." And he's like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Never mind, I'm going to use them, and now I'm evil." Like, it just felt like it was going from A to B to C to E to F to G to H to I to J to K to U to V to W to X to Y to Z. Like, there's some missing space in his character arc, and it felt very sudden to me. I also don't like the additions that we find out he admired Lee's work before he turned. And I don't know, I'd rather him just be this guy who lost it. That to me is much interesting. I do like how we find out he knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. That adds some nice emotion. Like, Peter thinks he's about to find out and he'll stop fighting him, and then he realized that he already knew. He just doesn't give a shit. And how that deeply hurts him. He thought he meant something to him, and I guess not. And that was really well done. The Sinister Six to me just added nothing. It was there for just a few quick boss fights. If you got rid of them, the game almost stays the same entirely. If you're going to do this big team up, actually utilize them or just leave them alone, in my opinion. You get one cool moment, but that's not enough. And Silver Sable, I didn't think needed to be a part of this story. I just felt like it started to get a bit overcrowded. So it definitely has too many villain syndrome. But Doc Ock, for the most part, was well done. Mary Jane, I'm very hit or miss on, because I love how when you first talk to her, you've got a sense that these characters have history. Because of that, these characters, this universe feels lived in. And I like the reconnection and how they try to help each other out, but sometimes she was just insufferable, getting pissed off at him for saving her, and I like their romance for the most part, but the conflict was very contrived. Then we've got everything with Miles Morales, and I like how we get introduced to his dad first, and we see how good of a man he was, and his death does have some weight. And I like how we see Miles trying to cope with it in a healthy way, and how he's just genuinely a good guy. My biggest issue though is that the spider bite feels very contrived. Then we've got everything with Aunt May, and I do love the reveal that Peter Parker, like she always knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. It was a very heartfelt moment, and when she dies, I really felt the weight of it, especially when Peter almost uses the anti-serum on her instead of everyone else. So yeah, that was well done. Lots of like the Harry's vacation turns out not to be a vacation, and that's where Devil's Breath comes from. It's not a bad idea, but like I feel like they should have leaned into that a bit more. I like Louis as a new character. I don't know if she exists in the comics, but she was good. I like J. Jonah Jameson doing his podcast. That was really funny. Um, yeah, not really as much to the story as I thought there was going to be. Yeah, it's a little all over the place. It's about Mr. Negative, Dark Arc, Sinister Six, Miles, MJ. It can be a tad bit messy, but I also blame the open world structure of the story. You know, you're free roaming, you get caught up, and then, oh yes, there's a story. You gotta go back to it. So it does ruin the pacing, but that's just a Gavin issue, I guess. But yeah, so overall, good story. I like Doc Ock, I like MJ, I like Miles. Peter, I didn't even mention him. He's brought to life so perfectly. Like, they capture his struggle so well, and his honest desire to do good, and his personality and his jokes, all captured perfectly. And yeah, a few questionable writing choices, but I do still like the story. So those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the story for Spider-Man? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.